I'm just gonna do a reaction to this video because I saw the first like minute or two and I was like, no, I gotta react to it. All right, let's react to this video. It's an underwhelming TFD review. Austin does not recommend. Elly reacts. Now this is Elly reacting to Austin that doesn't recommend. So I already feel like a certain way to it. Not to be like emotionally involved into it, but I feel a certain way when you automatically start off by saying do not recommend. It is a free to play game, so you can't hate on a free to play game as much. You can at least try it out and make an assumption to yourself. You can make the judgment call yourself. Thank you, appreciate it, Black. Thank you, thank you. But you can make the assumption yourself to see if you even like the game at all. But let's take a look at this review.
Here we go, chat. Hello, YouTube. Hello, people. I'm going to
Hello,
be
hello.
reacting to skill up review of the First Descendant. Please forgive my ignorance. I really don't know what a skill up is, but my chat has
I
been
don't know.
telling me since I started my
Skill up
stream
is
this morning
the
if I
okay, Surfshark. Okay.
so, just for the record, like we do all of our reactions, if you guys do not want a white-haired, blue-eyed VTuber reacting, stopping, pausing, flipping, and reversing it, you could click in the description down below if you guys want to see the uninterrupted version of this. But in the meantime,
I mean, that's very true. I mean, people have to put their input into it. Also, people don't think it's called a react for a reason. They're not just going to watch the whole video and then react to it. They do have to put their 2 cents into it. Sometimes it's a good idea to let people finish their thoughts before you put your 2 cents because then you can look kind of crazy. But I would definitely say for sure, you do have to do that. I mean, it is a react. So you are reacting to what you see the very first take. So
definitely going to be
I'm going to do the same
reacting
thing
to this
too.
and giving my opinion of the reaction of the review. Already, I have one thing to say.
What is it?
Austin does not recommend. Okay.
Yep.
So already, I think we're starting off wrong, and
I
something
thought it was
I
something
disagree.
else.
When something is given to you for free, there is no better judge out there than yourself.
Correct. Especially if it's free to play. Like I just mentioned earlier, if it's free to play, it's free to play. If you were to pay for a game, you could say, look, you know what? Is it worth $70? Is this worth $50, $40? You know, you can then say, you can make the title regarding, this is this worth to play? You know, for an example, Destiny 2, the last DLC is the final shape. You had to pay for that. So you can say the thing is final shape worth it. Boom. So a lot of times is what you can get value out of it. The fact that it's a free to play game, you could always get value out of it, but it might not be your cup of tea, or in this case, coffee, because I like coffee over tea. That might be a wild take, but that's just me. But again, the fact that it's free to play, I think you can't hate on it as you would a paid game for sure.
I would agree 100%. Maybe with this take of does not recommend if it had a price tag
Correct.
attached to it. But
Correct.
this has no price tag.
Yep.
This is a free to download experience.
Yep.
With that being said, the only
which is a lot of games are like this, right? Everyone compares this game to now Destiny 2. Destiny 2 wasn't always free. Now it's free. The last few years, now is free. Warframe is free. Very similar playstyle, very similar marketing. So that's free to play. So, you try it yourself and you be your judge of your own self. What I like might not be what you like. Everyone has their own taste and style of games. I might like gacha games. Maybe you don't. You might like Fortnite. I don't like Fortnite. I don't like battle royale style games. So everyone has their own cup of tea that they like, a cup of coffee. But I'm just saying, like, starting off by that way, it kind of puts everyone in a certain mood, which is like, okay. Well, let's see if this is going to be biased or unbiased.
True critic for anything that you might like or might dislike is yourself. Nobody else can make this opinion. Everybody comes into everything biased, just like I am going to be extremely biased of this review. Maybe not extremely. I'm going to try to be as fair as possible with the review.
Same. I'm going to try to be unbiased too. I am the First Descendant player. I do make content for them as well. I've been on a few, like a month or two hiatus, which I have yet to really play. After like the second week of Ultimate Freyna came out, like I kind of like took a pause because I didn't feel like there was a lot of content to really keep me going, to keep me active, which is nothing bad with the game. I know they're talking about that. I don't know if he's going to talk about that in this video, but I know for sure that like it wouldn't feel like a lot of content came out. So I know they did mention that in a patch or in a dev note that they were going to look into adding more. And apparently we do have a lot more end game content coming up. But for sure, like I took a break and I'm still in that break. Like I haven't really picked it back up to really play. I logged in the other day. They have a few events, which is cool, but like I haven't really made any videos on it on my channel. And my channel, my YouTube channel, is super small. And on my YouTube channel, I mean, I started making content for the First Descendant in a sense. Like I got accepted for this program and I started to enjoy it. You know, you had to be had 250 followers or subscribers and start making content for it, and you could potentially get a kickback. So I am gonna have a biased take, but I'm gonna be unbiased in some parts because, like, I've been taking a break, and it's fine to take a break from a game. I feel like sometimes you have to do that to reset your mind. Um, like I felt like I had to do that. Most recent game, like I would say that I spent too much time on it and I should have cut off earlier, is Destiny 2. Destiny 2, I played for so much. Even when I felt like I should have taken a break, I kept playing it. But I didn't. And now I can't stand the game. I try logging in and everything feels the same. They have a new Prison of Elders. They call it the Tomb of Elders. And honestly, I feel like it's cookie cutter. Just hearing that the whole thing, I just feel like they use the exact same thing over from before. So to me, I just felt like there is a certain stigma I have for that game because the way I've been grinding that game out. I'm trying to try not to do the same thing with the First Descendant. I'm trying to take a break a little bit off of it so I could enjoy the game back again. But I'm gonna try to be, unbiased as possible. But there is a bias to it because I got accepted to their program. I haven't made a video in a couple months, but
But just saying, anything that is free and you have a couple of hours of your day,
Yep.
week, try it
Well,
out yourself.
it definitely takes longer,
You like it.
but yeah.
And if you don't, you don't. There
Elly will
is
stick around to the
no price attached to
end of
this.
the video to learn more.
November has been a bit of a dry month for video games.
And I know before some of you guys are saying there's time investment. There's time. You're a gamer, bitch. You're online. You're already wasting time. What the hell do you mean by time investment?
I mean, if you are a gamer and you like these types of games, you are a grinder in a sense, right? If you play RPG games, you are going to grind for the strongest gear. If you play those types of games, even a looter shooter, you're gonna grind that out. Anything like that, a lot of games you play, you're gonna grind out. I mean, even things like Call of Duty and stuff like that, that's not really a looter shooter in a sense, but you're going to grind out because you want the coolest skin, you want the attachments to it. I haven't played Call of Duty in a long time, but you want the prestige to go in, so you're going to grind. So you are going, no matter what, there is a grind to almost every game, unless you play a very linear game like Final Fantasy. Boom, you can take that at your own pace. A lot of games you could take care of your own pace, but a lot of these live service games, it's a grind.
Do you need to do 5 more hours of the same lap that you do in your tired, played out MMO?
Yeah, all live services are the same.
You have time. If you're watching this review, you have time.
So we thought we'd rummage through the backlog. One that I was keen to loop back to is the First Descendant, the Warframe-inspired looter-shooter MMO light from Nexon. This launched about 4 months ago now, so I'm a little late to the party.
Time is flying by.
Interested to finally jump in, given the cool trailers,
See, now,
buzz I was here.
Hold on.
With the game.
Whoop. Hold on. This already, I'm like, I wish this was in the game. Where is it? I just lost it.
But just
Hold
saying.
on. 1 second, guys. I just lost this, and I wish this is my critique for sure in the game.
From Nexon. This launched about 4 months ago now, so I'm a little late to the party.
I want this in the First Descendant, by the way. This is what I feel like you should be able to do when you come to void battles, the void intercept battles, when you're fighting the Colossus. I want this out in the open world. The open world is super dry. And I totally understand. You just want to grind your materials and stuff, your void charge, and then get out. But you add a Colossus into a world map, make it a big, beefy, healthy, mechanical, has a lot of mechanics into it, boss in the game, in the open world. A lot more people will definitely be active in the open world. A lot of times I go in the open world private. I just want to do my own thing, be left alone. But if there's bosses out in the open world, hell yeah, I go in the public. Or if I can handle it myself, I'll go in the private. But
Quite interested
I want
finally
that to be in the
jump
game, though.
given the cool trailers, the
They have
buzz
yet
I
to
was
mention
hearing
that at
launch,
all.
and its impressive peak player count of over 250,000
Wow.
players.
264,000.
It's a lot.
So I thought to myself, there must be something here,
It's a lot.
right? Let's see what I'm missing out on.
Yeah, see, look, just looking at that, like you see Swamp Walker coming out.
Itself.
1,000.
So I thought to myself, there must be something here, right? Let's
Like you see Swamp Walker in like a terrain area, like a mountainy terrain with grass and stuff like that. That is what I want to see from the First Descendant. Like our understanding of the Colossus is they came here to Earth, they try to take over. We defeated them. Some of them are inactive. We found them. We dug them up. They activated, and now we fight them. But we only fight them in the void. It would be so cool if we can fight these bosses in the open world, and then you take that fight into the void, in a sense, because they were so powerful that you had to capture them and put them in the void, and now you have void intercept battles. Like, this is what I want to see in the First Descendant to scale it up a little bit more. Having those Colossus out in the open world, and while you go through the story, you learn about these characters, and they punish you if you are not built correctly, if you don't have a good gear or good stuff. They punish you. I kind of want that in the First Descendant. Your first view of the Colossus should be in the open world, and then you take it, and now it's even harder, and then you have even harder version of that, and now we're supposed to get void abyss battles, which are even harder than that, which have their own mechanic to it. But overall, I feel like you should start off the fight and first find out about your Colossus out in the open world. Can you imagine if you did Fortress and you had to fight Dead Bride in the open world? She's all snow. That would be amazing. You got Swamp Walker here. You're in Echo Swamp. Amazing. Or the Sterile Lands. Something like it would be so cool to fight these in the open world. Like you can either have like a lair where they will always spawn, or just spawn them randomly on the map. Now I know a lot of people might be upset because there might be different servers and stuff like that. But just keep spawning it. Just as soon as it dies, another one spawns up, and then another one spawns up. You just keep it going so that is not there. Now there might be more into it. Nexon should think about that, and they kind of take that and go. But I just feel like you should fight these bosses in the open world, at least the first time you meet them, and then you fight them over. Because right now you literally heard about them, right? You heard about them, and then you fight them in the void. Like, it would be nice to put the two and two together to mesh a lot better.
Let's see what I'm missing out on. Having now spent some time with the First Descendant, I am genuinely surprised that it ever managed to reach that level of popularity.
Why? The game plays really good. The story isn't that great, but the game plays really good. Can it be better? Heck yeah. There's always room for opportunity. And this is the first game from them, like looter shooter. Yes, you are copying a lot of things from other games. But, you can see the essence of other games, but the game plays really good. So why wouldn't you?
Now look, I have been around for the launch of many shaky live service games, between Anthem, Avengers.
Anthem, a perfect example. Anthem, flying around, shooting, felt really good. The biggest problem with Anthem, no endgame. The loot was not the greatest. But can you imagine if you had Endgame and Anthem, but maybe the loot wasn't the greatest? You would love to fly around. Like, I love taking my Anthem suit and then booking it. I was an interceptor. I love that type of build. Like being a ninja, in and out, I'm out. You know? If Anthem played good, but had no end game. This plays good. It gave you an end game, but is not the greatest, so they're trying to build off of that, right? And that's one of the things about it. But that's just my 2 cents.
The original Destiny, the early access launch of Wayfinder, and most recently with Throne and Liberty. All of these games had significant...
Yeah, I know a lot of people who play Thrones and Liberty. Even people in this chat, they play Thrones and Liberty. You know, one day I will pick it up again. It's just right now, not my game right now. But it's definitely a fun game, don't get me wrong. Especially for those who are console players who've been waiting for like a mmorpg game. Perfect, you know? But this, I feel like this type of game requires a lot more devotion into the game versus a lot of other games, you know? Like, you can play Destiny 2, go for your dailies, do your thing, you're done. Especially if you have all the weapons already, like you grind, like you just did a mission and you got the special weapon, you got the role you want, you're out. Like this, I feel like it's constant, you know? So it's like, what, once you get a god roll gun, is like, why else do you keep going back? For the armor to be better stats? But the stat, sometimes if you have a 68, 69 stat and is pretty much damn near where you want it to be when it comes to Destiny 2, like you're not going to keep going back in. You got it. You got a good piece of armor. You're not going to keep going back in. But, you know, if you have a good weapon, you good roll, why do you keep doing the dungeon? Unless you didn't get the exotic, or you're trying to you know, solo the dungeon by yourself and get that feat. So
significant problems, but as someone who's into these kinds of games, I can put up with a lot of bullshit. I've always been overall optimistic, always able to find at least something to latch onto, whether it's a
I never played Marvel.
Mechanic,
I love Anthem.
a tight core gameplay, or even just the presentation. And it's often enough that I'd at least have a decent time up until hitting the end game. But this game, man, this game broke me.
Let's
Never
take a
have
look,
I played
chat.
a game with such a monotonous gameplay structure, so unpleasant to look at and engage with.
I'm trying to understand. Okay, let me let him finish.
So disrespectful.
Unpleasant to look at?
That's what I said.
Okay. You can
I'm
say
with you,
what
Elly.
you want to say about the core mechanics, content, and everything. Saying it's unpleasant to look at is but
I mean, you got the characters; they look really good. The details, and I'm not just talking about the female characters. So get your mind out the gutter. But I'm talking about even the male characters look really good. The more recent stories, the stories behind the like Freyna was amazing. Her story was amazing, and I can't wait to see what Ultimate Sharon is like. But like, that's going to be really good as well. I can only imagine if they keep that same amazing graphics and detail into the story. It was so immersive. Like, you can feel the depth in her story for Ultimate Freyna. Can't say the same about Bunny. I wasn't really too intrigued about Bunny. But if they keep that going, that would be great. Like, I don't know if I would say unpleasant. Like, the characters look great, both males and females. I think the tower looks decent. You get to certain these locations where you have a lot of forests, you have a lot of multiple layer terrain. You know, I don't say, you know, unless you're going into a ship. I mean, the ship is supposed to look like a ship though, so that could be unpleasant. But I mean,
let's continue to watch him.
Absent of any new concepts that might set it apart
What up,
from
son?
other games like it. Playing through the First Descendant was frankly excruciating. Just tens of hours of mindless grind.
Yeah.
I wanted to throw in the towel just...
tens of hours. Did you finish the story? I'm curious about. It is a grind. Don't get me wrong. The game started off with literally you do a mission, do another mission, do a Colossus, do a mission, speak with someone, do a Colossus. Like, you had to keep doing this same cycle over and over. So that I can understand was annoying. There's a lot of people who couldn't do certain bosses that needed help. You know, when you first started off day one and you had to fight Dead Bride and no one knew how to actually play against Dead Bride, like Dead Bride was a lot of people's time, gate where they were gated at. They couldn't go past Dead Bride, some of the mechanics. So you had to learn the mechanics. Unfortunately, some people don't look into it or don't try to figure it out. And the worst thing is you had to do it with other people. So that I could understand, like the cycle going over and over, but
few hours in, but I pushed myself through just in case there was some redeeming quality.
Look, it already sounds like he came into this with an agenda, you know?
He did. It does sound like that the first few hours you already felt this way. Now, don't get me wrong. Like I said, the mission, speak with this person, go to a Colossus, avoid intercept battle, fight that boss. You got hard stomp at 2 spots right away. Dead Bride and Devour. The very first day, if you were playing, those 2 were tough for people if you did not know the mechanic. So if you spent hours trying to do that and you didn't get past that, I could definitely understand the issue you would have, right? If you got stopped right at those 2 and you couldn't, it took forever to find a group, that I could totally understand, But that's where the game got hard for you. You had to make sure you had the best weapon on there, Understand your powers. So
he's saying, oh my God, I really tried to push myself through this. So he's like not really enjoying the game from the beginning, and that's totally fine,
which is crazy because if you come from Destiny 2, the story is what keeps you going for a little bit, especially if you're invested in a character like Cade. Cade was a really good part of the final shape. Like when it comes to that, like that was amazing. So I had Reckless and Dawn carry me. Yeah, like if you had people help you out, I mean, I felt like when the community was always willing to help out. Like I was the very first day streaming on the Discord, and people were saying, "I got you. I'll help you out." They were very helpful. And like, "Oh, don't worry about it. I'll help you." They were very helpful. Now world chat in the game, I mean, who actually watches that cesspool? But besides that, I mean, people are definitely willing to help you out.
I guess for his work, he tried to push on to give a longer review, but sometimes it just isn't for you, and that is totally fine. That doesn't mean that there's something inherently wrong with the game. It's just not for you. Let's see if his criticisms are actually valid, though. Like he can point out, oh my God, I tried to open this door and I got bugged out for 20 minutes trying to cross this.
People forget day 2, servers crashed. You couldn't play it all together. It was a Microsoft issue, client issue. So day 2, you could not play. But besides that, I can't think of anything else that was really big on a massive scale that affected your play.
These are valid criticisms because if your game is releasing buggy, that's horrible and a horrible experience to get through.
Which is crazy because day 1 was perfect.
Let's continue watching.
But day 2 wasn't because of the client.
It seems like he just didn't want to play the game.
Eventually surface itself in the campaign or the end game. Spoiler, there isn't. I struggle to see any latent potential here. No reasons to get excited for it in the future. No reason I would play this over any other live service or looter title. And no, adding more jiggle physics to the game.
The First Descendant announces important news is getting official jiggle physics, which is somehow didn't already have. They're making it, I think, more pronounced, I think. And they're like, if you play gacha games, like even when they're staying still, like things move, hair move, body moves. So, but the much requested feature will be added in I don't know if it's the much requested feature. That's what Andy says. I don't know about that. I don't know if it's the must request feature.
The game will not change that, Nexon, but it doesn't hurt.
Oh, okay. So the characters are pleasing. So you can already say that it doesn't hurt to He mentioned before, Austin mentioned before that it's not a pleasing, but the characters are pleasing because you just said it doesn't hurt. So, not trying to say I got you in a gotcha moment. It's more like, well, okay, so you do agree that the characters do look nice.
For that.
But like I was saying, like this is your, where's that? Like this is your. Let me see if I can zoom out a little bit better. Fast stop. Like this is how you learn about Colossus, right? You don't learn about Colossus any other way but in the void area. Like in that trailer we talked about before, if you can find the Colossus out in the open world for the very first time and we have some world bosses, people would definitely play more. You have to give us reasons to play the world bosses, right? Have to be materials and stuff like that. But if you had world bosses, like I said, go back to the beginning of the video. You have Swamp Walker in a mountainy terrain. You have, or in the Echo Swamp, or you have Dead Bride in the fortress location. If you have Colossus that you meet while you're first playing the game, and there's a Colossus in this area, and they're in the snow area, so guess what? You're gonna fight Dead Bride. And imagine fighting Dead Bride in the open world. Again, we talked about that before, but it'd be so great. The fact that you first find Colossus and you fight Colossus in the void is kind of like it didn't put two and two together. And I would love for them to pull the Colossus out, put them in the open world, keep them also here if you want to keep grinding and get the harder materials, but you should at least first learn about them and fight them in the open world so that it's easier to understand the mechanics. Maybe the basic mechanics out in the open world, and then even harder advanced mechanics while you fight here. But again, that's just my 2 cents of how they can improve it.
For that take, it's not really something Nexon is suggesting. It is the community feedback that they've gotten, and they've gotten feedback
which is crazy
from us,
if that's
gamers, that they should incorporate
more
jiggle
figures,
physics, etc. So, like a good company does, you often take some of the feedback and you try to enhance.
And that's another thing that you can't say about the First Descendant about a lot of other live service games. They listen to the feedback. Some people say they listen too much to the feedback, but they listen to the feedback and they implement things pretty quickly. They are quick about updating, giving up, hearing the community issues. Is really tough to not like the devs for what they're doing with the game because how quick they're implementing things. The fact that people kept saying about the pity system, they're now having a pity system built in. Imagine trying to have a looter shooter and then everyone's complaining about a pity system. Now you have to stop kind of what you're doing and try to help them out and put a pity system in the game. Now, I don't know the ins and outs about how to make a game, but I can imagine that if you have a system that you have in place that you've had where you're going to keep that system, you can move on to something else. No, now you have to change that system up a little bit. So the fact that they're changing things up, I feel like they listen to the community pretty quickly. Some things they are saying we'll keep an eye on. There's some things like trading. They said they'll keep an eye on. They're not going to put it in right away, which I still think is a disservice. I think you should have trading in this game. That's just my personal opinion on that. But I would definitely say like they're pretty quick about like adding things and changing things up to make it easier for you guys or for us as players.
It better to meet the demand of people. People want that. So it's kind of commendable for the developer to say, you know what? If there's strong enough support for this, yeah, we'll do it. I don't think that there's anything wrong with that. Of course, if it doesn't hinder other development time, which in this case, I don't think so.
That's what I was saying. Like you literally will pull people away to stop what they're doing because you already put a system in place and you just add on top of the system, but now you got to pull it away and have someone or a group of people make a new system around it. The fact that they're making pity system, easier. It's good.
Probably he doesn't know and doesn't
and it's really quick.
Well with the
development 4 months he mentioned
game, but so far the developers have promised.
Now, mind you, it was 4 months. Now he mentioned this video, right? He says November, so we're still in November at the recording of this video. 4 months. Now they already have a system in place, and we're about to get that update in about a week. So can you imagine that the community was complaining about this and they started that even beforehand? And now they actually have a system in place. So they're about to implement that. So within 4 months, they already have something already going out about this. The fact that they're listening to the community and making adjustments, you can't say that about other games at all. So,
and have talked about incorporating different mechanics where just incorporating extra jiggle physics, I don't think will hinder their progress. You know, it's just like my model right now, my V2A model. If I go to my artist and say, hey, can we add more physics to my hair? This will take 5 minutes.
You guys can't see stuff moving, but
to incorporate more physics to my hair.
The hair I'm talking about, guys. The hair, of course.
It's just about turning up a little slider.
I'm not a fan of hand pistols or handguns, whatever those called. I'm not a fan of them, but some people like them.
Before we dive into the critique, let's talk about the stuff that I liked about the First Descendant.
Okay.
Okay.
The visuals can look great at times, boasting an impressive
Okay,
sense
so
of
you do like
scale
the
and detail.
sometimes.
The gunplay and character kits are decent. This grapple hook thing is fun to use.
Yep.
These
Grappling.
spectacle boss
Great.
fights can be quite an engaging mechanical challenge. That's it. That's all I got. The rest of this is going to be pretty scathing, so buckle up. Now, the first thing that jumped out at me in some of the trailers and promo videos was the presentation. And as I said, sometimes the game does look quite nice, particularly when it comes to those more natural environments.
Looks nice.
But most of the time,
In a ship.
man, I do not find this a very pleasant game to look at.
Or in a building.
It starts with the UI clutter. Like, it unironically looks like that Elden Ring UI meme.
I know I might not be everyone's favorite here, but I haven't played Elden Ring. But I don't find an issue with the UI. I feel like you got a compass to the top left. You have your teammates above you, so you can see their health bar easily. I mean, some games you have to toggle on your teammates' health to see what there are. So if you're used to that, that's kind of annoying. If you're not used to seeing your teammates' health, that goes there. You see your rank all the way on the top. You go over here, you see your skills. You see your MP bar. Like, I think it's pretty simple. It's not over the top.
Massive ability icons glued to the center of the screen.
I like it there. Is it just me? You get to see it. You're looking. So when you're playing, you're looking straight ahead of you. You can look down and see your abilities right away. As you play, if you were to look somewhere else, like for instance, Destiny 2, you're over here. If you have a wider screen, you're playing in the middle, you're trying to shoot and it's first person, then you got to look over here in the bottom left. Right? You pull your eyes away. With this, if you're good, your peripherals, you can see that as you're shooting, I can see, oh wow, skill 2 is already used. If I don't remember I used it, of course, let's just say you have a long ass cooldown, you can quickly see, oh, I have skill 2 already used, I can't use it. So by having it in the center, it's actually perfect. I feel like it's, I don't know, maybe my preference. The only thing I would say that I would do differently would probably, like, I did this with my my layout for vertical, for like TikTok and stuff like that. Like, put the hexagons, link them together into like a like one club area, one cluster. You know, maybe that I would say, maybe that'd be better, but I feel like that would be confusing to people. You have to understand it. I feel like I don't think it's a big learning curve, but I don't mind it being right there. I feel like it's fine. I don't know, maybe preferences there. Again, coming from Destiny 2, which he said he came from Destiny 2, like shooting and then trying to, oh, I gotta run and grapple something, use my strand to grapple. Oh, I don't have my grapples on cooldown and I fell to my death. Like, you have to actually pull your eyes away and look to wherever you have your UI system. The fact that it's right down the middle, you just look down quickly and not far to the one direction, it makes it so much easier.
Chat and quest information taking up
I think the UI is pretty simple, but
so much real estate.
I agree.
Always some kind of dialogue or...
Can it be updated to look a little bit better? Yeah. I mean, it's black and white. I mean, it'd be nice to be something different, but I mean, I think it's pretty simple.
Achievement all up in your face.
I think the UI is pretty clean,
resized.
actually.
Then there's the lighting, which can make things look
could it have a better
Let me finish.
to toggle off the UI here and there and rescale it? sure, I would always welcome that. Yeah.
Yeah, I would agree that if you can customize it a little bit more, sure. Now, he did mention the lighting. That is crazy. I never noticed the lighting on that. So I will say that that's crazy to be blinded by the sun. But then again, how realistic is that? Have you ever tried coming out from a dark room into a sunny day? And as you come out, you're like, oh, that light? I mean, how realistic is that?
Yeah. But just in itself, I don't think the UI is bad, but I guess that's just preferences.
Pretty
Yep.
ugly. I'm playing at ultra 2K resolution, ray tracing enabled, and while I do applaud this game for its broadly steady performance at those settings, I can't help but feel the game looks very flat at all times. This
I'm not a big fan of ray tracing, me personally. I just feel like it's overhyped for what it is. I'd rather have, even if it's not, this is not competitive, I'd rather have frame rates, give me more FPS than ray tracing. But I mean, it's up to you. Preferences, right?
adaptation that kicks in makes reflective surfaces have this strange shimmering effect and also often blows out the game to the point of being blinding. This also draws a lot of the texture out of materials, making things that
really
should
agree
look
with that
like
either.
metal instead look like plastic.
Hello?
Many of the indoor spaces, specifically the man-made
Oh,
ones,
let's say who's
look
that?
particularly bad because of this. Barring a couple of cool skybox elements, the environments here are also just boring. It's just
I do agree with this though, where he's getting into.
uninspired grass.
The world is dead.
Yeah. And I was just mentioning this. Like, you give us a Colossus to fight out here in the open world, and you just keep letting it spawn. Don't leave it on a time gate where in like 30 minutes he's about to spawn. Everyone quickly go there. No, just let him keep spawning. Just like how you do the Void Outpost. Every minute, the other one's ready to go. I think they're going to change that, I think. Or they already changed it. That's how, like I said, I haven't played in about almost 2 months. I would just say, like, just spawn new bosses in there, you know? Give us a reason to fight in the open world besides trying to get void traces or void shards and materials.
It just looks like an empty world. There are no monsters that are spawning here and there, but I guess it goes with their lore, maybe? Like it's a post-apocalyptic thing. But their game, there's a lot of open space where not a lot of thing is there, no livelihood, and there's no wild chickens running in this field. It just feels very dead. I don't know if it's like intentional. I don't.
So, I mean, I could understand a little bit where Destiny 2 gives you world events. It gives you open world events, like you can rally the flag, and an event's about to pop up. But how often are you doing those events? Not that often. Normally, if you go to a planet, you're gonna go do a mission and then you're done. A lot of times, you're trying to do some of the stuff. It would be nice. Don't get me wrong. It would be nice to have world events or something like that, like they have in Destiny 2 a little bit. Something big is about to drop. Be prepared, that I can understand. But in Destiny 2, I mean, you're not really doing a lot of world events. You go to, an older map, you're not going to go back there. There's no reason for you to go back there.
Keep up with the lore, so
I don't think it's
really
based
have
off of lore
anything to say there, but it does feel rather unalive.
I don't think you go based off of lore, though.
Desert and
I don't know if it's
snowfields with
like
a
I said.
peppering of
I don't know
military
how
bases
true
or
it
ancient
fitting it
ruins,
is.
lacking any
I don't keep
sense
up with the
of
lore.
originality or atmosphere. There's absolutely no creative use of colors, lighting, fog, or post-processing to give these places any sort of wow factor.
You want, like, if it's snowing, you want snow. If in a snowy area, you want snow. You want like a blizzard to go by. Don't get me wrong. Destiny 2 did a really good job. I think I forgot the name of that DLC, that snowy map, that there is a blizzard that comes by. So I can see what you're saying about the world map to be a little bit more, not just something to do, but there's an environment there, not just a plain environment with trees and something or a desert. I could see what you're saying. Like maybe in like that desert location, maybe there will be like a heat wave and like you lose energy a little bit faster or something like that. So I can understand if you're looking for something like that to be a little bit more interactive. I just don't want it to be punishing though. But is that what you're saying, then I can understand.
Pulling you through these locations is a story that is unsurprisingly not good. As someone who sat through every conversation
The story is probably one of the worst things about the game. People ask me all the time, what is the story about? And I can only tell you that you get to choose one of 3 characters. Some guy beats you up. You try to get whatever he took from you and stop him from ending the world. Everything in between, I don't know. Like, we know about the guide, and only certain people can see the guide. But I really can't tell you too much about it, because the story didn't really explain it, and it wasn't as interesting to keep learning about it. You know? It would be nice to have seen some cutscenes. Maybe. I'm more of a visual person. You show me some cutscenes, even if it's like kind of a 2D kind of thing. Give me some cutscenes, because let's get this. Let's just talk about this. Destiny 2 cutscenes are amazing. Give me a cutscene that looks amazing. You know, that gets you going. You feel more involved. So I would like to have seen that. Hopefully one day maybe they do update to the story. But I mean, now I feel like people have done it. If you're just starting off, you're gonna have to deal with it. Unfortunately, like I said, the story is probably the worst part about the game. Honestly, I feel like what they're doing with the Descendant specifically story based, like I said, Ultimate Freyna story or just regular Freyna story looks amazing. It was amazing. It was you could feel the depth, you could feel the passion, the hatred, the everything that came along with it. Like, you keep giving us that'd be amazing. So I'm hopeful for that, but I could understand the story. Like I said, the story was definitely not the greatest at all.
I don't care how bad the story is, because
It was bad. The story was bad. Like, I honestly can't tell you much about the story. That and the one guy, Jeremy. That's the only thing I think everyone knows, Jeremy. That's the only thing you can tell me about that.
Her.
Okay, so you like guide.
Her, chat.
Okay.
I don't care.
All right.
She's so beautiful.
Cutscene. I can tell you it's not worth paying attention to if there was any doubt.
I still don't know anything about her.
There are some surprisingly competent voice performances here. It's mostly a cast.
Okay, now this is getting awkward.
Characters navigating a tri-conflict that you've seen many times.
I've listened to the voice acting. Not the biggest fan. I think it's very mid.
Yep. Like, hearing Bunny like laugh and then do her normal saying over and over and over gets kind of annoying. It gets really annoying. And I could definitely say I agree. I'm not the biggest fan of the voice acting. Not saying it's the worst, but I'm not the biggest fan of it. I'm definitely not the biggest fan. They do have other languages. I believe someone told us to try the Korean version of it. It was interesting to have, and I still have the Korean version on my PlayStation when I play on the First Descendant, but we normally play the First Descendant on the PC. But I've tried it. I definitely like some of the talking on there. But it's more preferences for sure. But I would say the story voice line wasn't the greatest. Bunny, you can kind of tell there was kind of like forcing some things, and the story didn't feel great. You know, I can understand the voice acting. Is what I'm saying.
Voice acting. I play in Korean.
Oh yeah, there you go.
Language. And in Korean, it's better than in English. But I
would agree. Some of the female characters, listening to them, I would definitely agree for sure.
Don't think there's anything stand out here as well. I do think I agree with him. Voice acting is
times before.
Meh.
Bad guy needs 3 MacGuffins to take over the universe. Good guys must get them first.
I've heard worse,
because
for
humans
sure.
are easily tempted by their power or whatever. The entire campaign is just us showing up to where the next MacGuffin is supposed to be, only for it to once again be pulled out of reach.
I know that I hate this.
Oh, she's gonna say the same thing. I hate this guy too. This guy is the only thing I remember of the story besides what I just mentioned. I can't remember anything else with the story because we know we hate this guy. You pick your character. You got beat up. The big bad guy took your stuff. You now have to go back and grab that stuff and stop him. Like, that's the only thing I know.
How long do you plan on just standing there? Go back to Albion and bring reinforcements or something.
Better get comfy and pop on a new podcast series to burn through, because surprise, surprise, that repetition in the narrative is just window dressing for a painfully repetitive gameplay structure. Every story mission is this. You load into an open world zone, you're asked to do a bunch of menial missions in whatever order, then do a little dungeon thing, and then load into the next zone. It is, no joke, just this on repeat for almost 30 hours. It actually
Yeah, the campaign is uneventful.
Like I said, you literally do mission, 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 go to Colossus. Or speak to someone and then go to Colossus. I feel like if there was a way to traverse into the next map, the next area of the map, right? Destiny 2 does this with, when you play the gliders, when you can traverse into the next map almost seamlessly, I feel like it's a lot more immersive. The fact that you have to load into each map, like if I'm literally next to it, I can't just open the door and go into the next location, load, and then now I'm in the next map area. Like I have to teleport into the next one. It's it breaks the immersion. So I can understand that. But like, it's literally mission, 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 open the map, go talk to someone, do a Colossus. So it's just rinse and repeat. So, I mean, I can understand, why people might not like that. But honestly, I'll take that over sometimes doing something from Destiny 2 where you would literally go speak with someone, go over here, grab something, wait, now go back to speak with someone, because we can't just talk to them over the phone or however we can communicate with them. Then after you speak with them the second time, go do this mission, then goes back to speak with them, go to this cave and collect this, and then go do that, and then go back to speak with them. And then you got the item, now go speak with someone else and final craft it. I'd rather have this mission, 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 mission than to do the constant, okay, speak with you, go to the next, go do this real quick. Go speak with Zavala, go speak with Ikora, now come back and do this mission. It's like, I'd rather do, I'm not hating on Destiny 2, I'm just saying, if you're going to bring up the whole like mission, 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 and then how you don't like the campaign, the way it's lined up, I agree. I'm not the biggest fan of it, but I take fighting and playing the game for sure over go to Zavala and speak with him, and now go to, I don't know, Shax and let him talk to you about something. And then now you listen to someone's story, and now you have to go find in this mission a radio frequency to hear a radio and to just learn a little bit more information about it, to then go back to Shax to say, hey, you know what, this is not great. Okay, you know what, why don't you speak with Ikora? She's in this planet. Now you got to go to that planet, speak with her. Now you have to then do it. I'd rather have this than that. That's just my personal preference, though.
Breather. There has been no effort made here to provide any compelling narrative dressing.
Thank God I don't have to do the campaign again after just doing it one time. But if I had to repeat the campaign over and over and over.
What Elly is saying is so true. For this person, Austin, to say, you don't like the campaign? Destiny 2, if you make a second character or third character, you have to either pay for the boosted up, or you have to do the whole story and campaign all over again. Learn your powers, do this, listen to this cutscene. This, you do the story one time, boom, out. Now, from my understanding, you can go and do the hard story again and you get more XP. But like I said, I would take this over that. Trying to make more than one character in the game. Because if you, let's just say you're a warlock or a titan, but you know what? Hunters look like fun. Let me go ahead and do that. I already almost maxed out my titan. You know what? Let me go play Hunter for a second. Let me see what is it about. Oh, I have to start from the very beginning. I don't have any powers. I have to learn this. Nah, I'm good.
Over, yeah, that would be very annoying. I don't think the campaign really stood out to me. I think it is rather lackluster. I agree.
how these missions play out.
Yeah.
It is the same 3 or 4 missions repeated over and over again, all of them just some form of wave clear. It is basically Destiny patrols the game. The only thing that could have made this even somewhat tolerable is if the game had like incredible combat, but for me it's just serviceable. Each region does present new enemy types, but given enemies pose 0 threat until late into the end game, this is essentially meaningless. The few bosses and
What's great about the game is how quickly someone can easily join you in a mission in the open world and do that, help you with that mission and grab that loot. Like if you see that person had someone fighting and you were able to take out that character, this one could be annoying if you're not strong enough for. I think this was the chapel, I think, where you get Sharon's part. If this is on normal, right? Like this could be very annoying if you were doing this by yourself. If you weren't built correctly. Now that you're built is different, right? But that could be tough.
come across use the exact same.
And some people don't like to play with other people and you'll play the game on solo, right? So you play this game on solo by yourself, you put it on private, it's going to be a lot more difficult than you would be doing it with other people.
Same mechanics, breaking their invuln phase by either shooting a few balls flying above them
A
or killing
little
the enemies that are
more
tethered to them.
creativity and
Yeah, let her finish.
boss
Gunplay
fights would be
is
nice.
decent.
All right, thank you, Elly. For sure, like the whole balls and orbs above the boss is so annoying. They finally took, well, they didn't finally. They took away the orb that used to like shift and you got it wrong and then it'll come back and you had to get the right one. Like those are annoying. And every single dungeon boss, all pretty much had it. So I would agree in that scenario. Just give me something else. Change it up a little bit, you know?
In that every weapon has
But
good feedback.
you know, let's hear this guy out. Yeah. Let me read a comment from chat. He sounds super biased. He's a graphic Andy. If it isn't 4K reality looking, it sucks. Not objective at all, to be.
He said he played it in 2K ultra settings, by the way. Just trying to correct and make sure we have the right what he said, because you're saying that he's biased.
Honest, it's free to play, not a AAA budget.
Correct. It's free to play, so you can't be upset about that.
Back and popping heads feels satisfying.
You can be upset, it's just not really a valid one.
Movement feels responsive too, and platforming can be quite enjoyable at times with the help of this neat grapple hook that carries your momentum, but none of this is remotely enough to carry the extremely monotonous mission structure. Nor does that change once you've finished
I mean,
the
to be
campaign.
fair, the campaign isn't that exciting. Like, I don't think anybody, even like diehard the First Descendant fans would say, oh my god, the campaign is outstanding. It's very, at best, it's okay. It's tolerable.
Yeah.
The end game, you do unlock a horde style thing, and there are some harder versions of the boss fights and open world missions.
It did seem a little bit hard too.
Fighting the same enemies in the same locations, and even at the same pushover difficulty if you're farming parts to craft characters, because they don't drop from the hard modes for some inexplicable reason. That leads me into progression. So it's based around farming components to craft new gear and characters like Warframe, combined with a looter-based model like.
Okay, so he has played Warframe. I don't think he mentioned that in the very beginning. I remember hearing Destiny 2 and other games, I didn't hear Warframe. So if you understand Warframe, which sounds like he does, then this should be no problem.
Destiny.
But keep in mind, Warframe's been out since, what, 2011? So just keep that in mind.
Where guns and gear also drop from enemies. With that looter model tacked onto what is already a grindy game, inventory management becomes a nightmare. No exaggeration.
Not really.
Gear drops.
Yes and no. Like, I hoarded every single thing, but you don't need level 3, level 4, level 5, level 6 weapons. Those were deleted immediately. But once you start in hard mode where you get level 100 weapons and 100 reactors and 100 components, I'm keeping everything, put it in storage, keeping more stuff. I'm keeping all of it because you never know when a character comes out and they just happen to have this ability that works really good with that. And it needs crit and cooldown. All right, perfect. I have that reactor if I need it or something like that. Now, they are planning to change it up. I believe they're like the point of having non-attribute reactors give you toxic skill power boosts. Like that's annoying, right? And I think they're changing that, I believe. I think I saw that somewhere. But if they're not like that, I can understand. That's immediately destroy it. Like I don't care, don't need for it. Even if it had great rolls, it's double gold. I'm getting rid of it because that's no point. So something like that, like reactors have been talked about for a while, and they are implementing things for it.
About as often as
Get rid of this.
Yeah, like one stuff. Why do you have one stuff and you're maxed out? Now, they did give us, I'm not sure when he was playing this, because they did give us a lot of inventory space. And you do get inventory space as you level up your master class too.
So you are constantly having your inventory filled up, forced to dismantle things mid-mission to make room, never forming any connection to specific weapons.
When you dismantle, there was no reason to use the materials besides certain things. Now they're using it. That you need this material, and you need an abundant amount of this material. So now dismantling is very important. I just wish it was easier when you go to your postmaster to delete things. Like the reactor, you can't see the roles you have in your reactor. It'd be nice that you can delete in your postmaster, so you don't have to actually bring it to your inventory.
Because they're almost instantly out.
But even now, if he's making this video in November, if he didn't see the new dev community note that the new character coming out and the pet, you're going to be able to auto delete stuff.
Dated. You can infuse
that
one
helps.
Weapons level into another, like in Destiny, but that requires loading back into the hub area, and you need to craft a specific item to do so.
Yeah, I don't agree with this. The inventory stuff is like, I'm trying to really put myself in a position where maybe I'm a new player.
Because as a new player, it doesn't tell you what specifically what's great, what you need to keep an eye out for. But you really don't need to worry about that. Just put a weapon that you can play this game in a few ways, right? You can put the strongest, highest level weapon on, and then you just go with that. It could be a shotgun and a pistol. You can go that route, or you can go the route with, you know what? I want to master every single weapon, because mastering every single weapon early on will help my master class rank go up higher and faster. That was my biggest mistake. I didn't try every single weapon. So now I'm going back to try these blue and purple weapons to get them mastered out. So I don't know.
Because I know, obviously, I have probably close to 1,000 hours in the game already. So my opinion is probably a little skewed now that I know the system's a little bit better.
It's a lot of hours.
I don't think I really had a big issue with inventory here.
It's a lot of hours.
A huge inventory.
I hoard everything. I still have a lot that I should be deleting and I don't delete. So, because you never know what kind of character you're going to come out with. If they told us that there was a chance for a non-attribute to be mixed in with toxic, I would have so many reactors that have those things as well. But they don't. They didn't tell us anything. So I know for sure, delete that reactor. Don't matter how great it is.
Massive a-hole about inventory issues. And I don't think I really was too expressive about it in this game. I don't think the game is really bad with.
I have so many reactors, but once you have the ultimate weapons, like you don't need any other weapons. Now I'm trying to collect the weapons, like the blue and purples, because I didn't do that. But if you did the blue and purple weapons early on, you don't have to worry about that. You don't have to worry about inventory as much.
With inventory, maybe if he's a super hoarder, even out playing me in the hoarding department, which would be really hard because I hoard everything.
I hoard everything because you never know when something pops up, and the way the game, any grinding game is, if I delete that item, I am fearful that something comes up, there's a change, there's an update, there's a DLC, there's a patch, there's a new character that might need something like this, so I don't delete it. But if it's clear cut, like I said, if it's frost, ice, and it has fire built into the skill boost, delete it.
I don't think that this game is one of the bigger offenders of the inventory issue.
It's such an unwieldy experience that renders
Definitely
the buildcraft
not.
basically impossible to engage with throughout the campaign, which is a shame because the buildcraft side of the game isn't bad. It's difficult to fault in the sense that it's basically identical to Warframe. You slot mods into weapons and characters.
Yeah, maybe he doesn't know that the loot.
So yeah, it does
going
feel
through the
good
story
to crank
is
up
just
the fire rate on a
trash.
shotgun and watch it rip through a boss. But at the end of the day, you're still just shooting guns.
I'm not a fan of shotguns here. That's just my personal preference. You might like it. I think they buffed some of the shotguns, but like him using the shotgun now, seeing it, I'm like, it doesn't hit for much.
With minimal differences in handling. I would love to tell you then that the diverse character kits inject gameplay variety where the missions and combat don't, but I was only able to unlock 2 of them in my time.
You only unlock 2? And the tens of hours you spent? Hold up. You play this game, you did tens of hours. How far did you get, Austin? I need to know how far did you get. Because you got immediately you pick your starter Pokemon, right? Squirtle, you got Charmander and Bulbasaur, right? You get to choose which one you want. Then after that, easily, quick, within like 15, 20 minutes, you got Bunny. And soon after you got Bunny, you got a side quest to learn about Freyna, or not learn about Freyna, but to start getting Freyna stuff. And as you do some of these missions, early on, you got certain parts. Like Sharon came up, you got a Sharon part. You're like, oh, I can get Sharon. How do I get the next part of the Sharon? Oh, it's coming up. I just got to do this story, and hopefully I get lucky that way. So,
With
I don't know.
Game, one of which being the starter character, and the other being a guaranteed unlock. Their kits
Bunny.
are decent enough. I mean, I mostly...
Which, by the way, the fact that they give you Bunny outright in the beginning of the game is amazing. Bunny can carry you from almost anything. She is the most used character probably in the First Descendant because how useful she is. You need to go farm? Bunny. You want to get to your missions quickly? Bunny. You want to do a lot of damage in an area? Bunny. Now there's other characters who do a lot of damage areas. You know? Bunny is just very versatile. That's why a lot of people complain that, I can't get to an area fast because Bunny's getting there. And that's why you have Isimo now going just as fast as Bunny. You have Freyna going fast. You have Viessa with her ability going fast. You got people trying to go fast because Bunny makes it a lot more easier. Why do I pick that? I could just get it done quickly.
He played as a guy who's basically a...
Okay, I hope he's not going to talk about class diversity when he only unlocked 2, though.
Elly, don't kill him.
Because, you can't give a take on class diversity if you really only unlock 2.
Because your first pick is Ajax, which is a tank. So, okay, you have a tank, which, by the way, the tanking in this game isn't this your normal tanking kind of style, but, you do your best as you can. And then you get Bunny, which if you don't understand Bunny when you first start off, people don't like bunnies unless you understand her kit. So, but Bunny's amazing.
Destiny Titan with a couple AoE slam abilities and 2 deployable shields. I also played this interesting one called Bunny. She gains an
which is free within the first 30 minutes of the game, by the way.
Which you just said was interesting too. So there's some diversity in that, right? You have the tank with slams, puts a bubble out, or not bubble, puts a shield out and stuff like that. You got a character that you don't even need to shoot at all. You build your bar up, you run around, do damage. You got 2 characters totally different from each other.
Okay. So one of the classes that he got to play was Bunny, which is free within the first 30 minutes of the game. And the other one, maybe Blair?
Charge from running around.
You know what's funny? I have yet to get Blair. I don't care to do the mission over and over and over to get Blair. I'm just not going to grind him out. If I get him, I get him. I'll do the mission every now and then. If I get the part, I get the part. But I'm not going to keep grinding it out. And again, they're going to probably make a pity system even for that. So,
which increases the damage on her abilities to the point that I rarely ever needed to even fire my gun.
Which is amazing.
Which in and of itself is class diversity.
Yes, because if you don't get enough bullets, you got to spam your powers. And if you don't get enough MP to keep spamming your powers, that's no good. The fact that Bunny allows you to circumvent all that and just run around, you get your power back. It's amazing.
If you have a character that you don't even need to fire a gun, you just go around electrocuting everything, while some other characters damage amplifies with guns better, that's already a difference. That's like night and day between just two characters.
And then on top of that, you have Thunder Cage. They gave you one of the, I wouldn't say the best, but they gave you one of the best for weapons, right? When you first start off, Thunder Cage is such an amazing weapon. it's just too good not to play it. Like people, you can easily get it. First of all, you get it for free. You can easily get multiple copies without a huge grind into it, right? You don't get like a pattern that you need to unlock the pattern to do a certain boss. No, you just do a mission over and over and over and over again to get the parts you need. Now, one copy already opens it. Now, Dev Notes community post just made a thing that they're going to make it where you unlock the full ability when you have one copy of it. So that alone is amazing. Thunder Cage gives you, a bigger burst area to do more damage. Even if you weren't playing Bunny, having that is amazing.
So that's neat, but why couldn't I unlock the others? Well, this is where we get into some questionable
I hate
stuff
the Asylum.
regarding
I spent
drop rates.
hours on the
As I
Asylum
said,
looking for
you're
this
farming
mod.
these missions for components to craft weapons and characters, but each
Yeah.
part only has like a 20% drop chance at most, with some as low as 6%. So that kind of sucks, right? Well, it gets
This chapel was the worst one.
After farming hours for just one
For
of those
people.
20% drops to no avail, I thought something was up. I then did some research and found many reports of other players on both Reddit and Steam reviews also
Is very clear that Descendant parts drop rates are rigged. 20% chance, 1 out of 5, and after 30 plus missions, nothing yet. I definitely felt like within 10 or 15 tries, it was the worst for me. 30 missions, I don't know. I mean, I everyone plays differently, so I don't know, their circumstance. For me, it took like Thunder Cage in the beginning took me like 12, 13 tries before I finally got the one part. Now you got to get multiple parts of it. So that was annoying to just think about that. Like to me, the one of the hardest parts to get was for Ajax, Ultimate Ajax. Like that was tough. I had to grind it out and didn't get it. Got to go back and get some more shards and do more outposts. So that I can understand, like people being upset, which is, by the way, they're putting a pity system in the game. So, but I don't know. I think they keep saying every single time they come out that they keep looking at the actual drop rate and letting us know it's popping up. Some people legitimately got it on first try. Sometimes, for me, I got some ultimate parts pretty darn quickly. Some people did not. So,
struggling.
Everyone's different playstyle. I play way. Stop lying about drop rates, Nexon. I run the chapel 45 times and have. That's the worst one. Everyone kept talking about chapel because you're looking to get Sharon. 20% drop rate. I farmed my mats and killed the Colossus for the Glay piece. I needed to, and it took 12 tries at a 38% chance. I got 4 Smithereen pieces in a row. Anything to do with Descendant drops is a blatant lie. I'm calling it. Any percentage they give you isn't real. The one thing I would say specifically is if you're looking for a Glay piece, I know it says 38% chance. Sometimes you just don't get it. And after a few tries, I move on to the next area that has that specific chance. Now, of course, if it's 38% chance, that's the best one you're going to get. But if I'm having a bad time there, you know what? I'm just going to move on to the next thing. I'm going to go find that same part somewhere else for maybe a different try. And maybe I might get lucky then. But then I don't have to be so upset specifically at that. Now, it is a meme to get, Smithereen parts. I don't know if the Smithereen weapon is a good weapon or not. I have it. I just never played with it. Just got it over with. So, but everyone talked about Chapel was the worst part. Now, to me, hearing so many people complain about how hard it is to get Sharon and the Chapel part, it was like for me $4.99 or spend a certain absorbent amount of time to get this part. Now, I ended up doing that because I didn't want to deal with that. I had a few people from chat tell me how long it took them for them to get the part. And then I had someone in the chat tell me, oh, I got like 7 of those. We did it like so many tries. And it's like, some people got lucky and some people didn't. But I can see people being upset. Like I said, they are making a pity system behind it, which is what, again, I am impressed that they were able to be how quick they were to help that pity system, right? Because the fact that it's been 4 months and within 2 months, they already had something being implemented, working with the team, getting it worked out, and now they're putting it out. It's pretty quick.
cases being a near
Stop lying about drop rates, Nexon. It's one of those people. Oh my god.
statistical impossibility given the amount of runs they had done.
The probability of having five successes of 75 attempts with each having a 25% rate is approximately or about 0.003%. Yeah, when it comes to math, I'll just leave that alone. But 75 attempts though? Damn.
Done.
I'm reminded.
Nexon fined nearly $9 million for falsifying loot box drop rate. The fine is the largest ever imposed for a violation of South Korea's Consumer Protection and Electronic Commerce Act. When you purchase through the link, affiliate. Okay, what is this for? Does it say what it is?
Of the court case earlier this.
The probability of having only 5 successes out of 75 attempts, with each attempt having a 25% success rate, is approximately times or about a 0.3 chance.
Given the amount of runs they had done.
I'm reminded of the court case.
Yeah, but a lot of this is also like just people speaking out of their ass, though.
Oh, Maple Story. I see in the bottom.
A lot of this is just.
I did hear about the Maple Story thing when Nexon first was bringing out the First Descendant. Everyone on Discord and Reddit and everywhere else talks about this is the same developer who has Maple Story. Now, I never played Maple Story. Doesn't seem like it'd be my type of game. But I did hear that they were sketchy and shady with their practices when it comes to loot boxes. I don't know too much about it. That's not something that I would talk about specifically because I have no knowledge on. But I can see why people would be skeptical of Nexon.
People that like just fluff up their numbers. This brings me back to the person in my chat.
But there's a difference between, I understand drop rates, right? It says loot box. Now, I don't know if Maple Story is a gacha game. Gacha games are pretty horrible. It was for Maple Story, I think. Yeah. Gacha games, I think, if Maple Story is a gacha game, which I don't know, maybe we should look it up before we start talking. Maple Story, a gacha game. It says loot boxes, right? It does say it is a gacha game. So if it is a gacha game, gacha games, I mean, this is not a gacha game. I understand when you say drop race, I understand that you may be looking at the percentage isn't the greatest because they've been lying about the drop rates. But when it comes to a gacha game where you have to spend money versus spending time, I feel like there's a difference to it. You got to take it. You got to look at each one individually. You know, you spend $100 and you never get the item versus you spend 5, 10, 15 bucks to get a character, a basic character. And then if you want the ultimate version, you spend $50 depending on where you live and you have an ultimate version of the character that you pay out for upright. I'd rather have that than a gacha system style, but that's just my personal preference.
That said, hey Elly, I hadn't gotten this piece to drop and I ran this dungeon 200 times.
200 times?
Prove it. Prove to me that you ran a mission 200 times and you didn't.
I mean, it might be tough to show that you did the mission for 200 times, but I mean, I will say this. I ran, and it is a stream, and many people would say it on the stream. I ran the Asylum for a 3% chance for, I think it's 3%. I ran for Asylum for that mod for Eugen because I really wanted the first aid kit mod, and I was doing it on normal, and I was trying to grind, did not get it. And I spent 14 hours doing it. That is on stream, and I did not get it. But it is a 3% or 2% chance, whatever it was. But a lot of my friends got it. People who were with me got it. I didn't get it. But it's very important to know that that sometimes is not the only location that you can get something. We ended up getting the mod for First Aid Kit randomly for playing in the Agna Desert. Just playing randomly, doing a mission, boom, it dropped. The most exciting feeling to finally be done with that, but upsetting to spend 14 hours doing it. But, you know, a 25% chance or whatever Elly just said, like, that's a big chance. If you spend 200 attempts and you didn't get it, that's a bigger leap.
Didn't get this. Unless you're grinding the wrong place.
And that has happened twice to me. I've gone into a dungeon and not select the correct pattern. Or I saw that it was Agna Desert or somewhere else, the fortress, and I selected the other mission and that material is not dropping. Or this pattern is not dropping or something. So that's happened to me, but that's a skill issue. That's my problem, right? But yeah, let's move on.
It is very unlikely for that to happen. And it doesn't really happen. People just make stuff up.
Earlier this year, where Nexon were fined $9 million for intentionally misrepresenting drop rates in one of their other games. I obviously can't 100% confirm that the
No, you can't. And bringing it up is dumb.
same thing is happening here, but it definitely...
It's not, though.
It is different. And Elly's right. Why would you... I mean, you can bring it up because you're like, hey, at the very end, more of a, hey, you know, just Nexon is like this, or their one game is like this, but you shouldn't bring it up only because you have to, there are two different types of games. One is a gacha game and one is a looter shooter that you can get almost everything in the game besides cosmetics if you just spend time grinding. You know, there's a difference between those two.
Nexon have claimed that it's all working as intended and that they'll be making changes to drop rates in the future by implementing some form of bad luck protection. But this is Nexon we're talking about. If you trust that...
This is Magnum Studios.
I mean, I would say for sure, like, if in the very beginning, you could be skeptical of the game, of the devs. But the devs have delivered pretty much everything that they talked about very quickly. So you have to give them at least the benefit of the doubt that they're saying they're going to drop a pity system, that they're dropping the pity system. And just like that, 4 months in, we get in the pity system. There's games out there that don't have a pity system. There's gacha games out there that don't have a pity system. I play all weird random gacha games. Recently, within the last year, Dragon Ball Z, I think it's called Dragon Ball Z. Dragon Ball Dokkan Battle. It's a card game with Dragon Ball characters and the animation and cut stories. I think they're going on their 9th year anniversary coming up very soon. It wasn't until last year that they have somewhat of a pity system for certain characters, for certain banners. I think they're getting better at it. But 7 years, going on 8, they didn't have any pity system. So depending on your perspective of things, you have to keep that in mind. Some games are just way out there. But, you know, it's still a love game, but it's a gacha game. In this sense, it's your time that you're wasted. And I can understand if an average Joe who works 9 to 5, comes home, tired, eat, shower, right before playing, maybe they got an hour. They have to grind one mission out. In that mission, they don't get what they want. They go to sleep. They get upset. I just wasted an hour, didn't get the thing. I can understand that, which is why they're building this pity system. But to not even give them the benefit of the doubt is crazy.
That we're talking about. Magnum Studios has definitely never not delivered on stuff that they have promised, though. I mean, yeah, I totally see it. If we have nobody else to blame here but the father company Nexon here for doing this in other games like Maple Story, which has a different development team than the one that is working on the First Descendant.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm not going to try to defend a Nexon for this. You definitely put yourself in a position where you're going to always be scrutinized by every project that you release because you did this on Maple Story. You are dumb. You know, that is true. But as a person that has, again, a lot of hours and definitely read every patch note and everything that comes up when these developers speak, everything has been delivered. They have bent over backwards and beyond for delivering for the people that have still played this game.
Yep.
So if anybody's watching this and anybody cares, at least from somebody who actually plays the game, I can 100% confirm that the team has delivered on everything they have promised.
That is so true. And they've done it so quickly too. It's not like, all right, we understand this issue and you just, oh, we're trying to figure it out. We're trying to figure it out. And they keep doing more and more. They're pushing it out. No, they're pretty darn quick at adding something. When a community gets upset, the next following day, there was a dev note and that was already being addressed. They already have a team going for this. The fact that they're already quick about doing certain things and they're delivering is amazing. And it's really tough to find developers that are like this. It's hard to find developers that are like this, to be able to, you know what, we're not going to hurt the player's experience. We're going to try to fix it. We're going to try to fix the problem. And they're on top of it quickly. Within the next patch note, the next update, it's already being implemented. Like I said, the fact that you have a pity system that's coming out within 4 months of the game being released, that people were complaining about it, boom, you have a pity system. You know, can't be upset about that. Some games don't even have a pity system. You play Destiny 2, you can play as many times as you want. You might not get the exotic to drop. Just does it. Do they have a pity system? They do not. And I don't know about the new dungeon. I have yet to play the new dungeon. But sometimes when you do the dungeons, if there's an exotic behind that, you only get one chance per week per character to get that weapon. After that, you don't get the chance to get the exotic anymore. So, like, I know they're different games, but they're very similar. Especially, I'm specifically saying Destiny 2 because he mentioned Destiny 2 in the very beginning of it. Again, no hate on Destiny 2. I'm personally just burnt out of the game. But comparing those two, I mean,
everything. Yeah.
I mean, it's the opposite also with Bungie, right? Bungie got so much praise because it was from Halo. Everyone loved Halo. But when something happens bad, they're like, oh, Destiny, you know, it's not the greatest. You know, there's some people who don't like Destiny. So, but again, it's your preference though.
Their word, fair enough. But I personally have a lot more skepticism for them given their history. Ultimately, it was at this point that I was like, yep, no thank you.
Did you play MapleStory? I can understand, you know, being skeptical. I can understand that. But like, if you didn't deal with it, I could understand why you would not play it at all. And not even recommend it. But if you didn't play it, you know, well, give it a shot. Give it a chance. See how you like it. I still say you should have the opportunity to try it, though.
Thank you. I'm done. With the uncertainty of all this and no bad luck protection currently in place, I refuse to give this game any more of my time.
Obviously,
Crazy.
the only motive to...
Which is fine. If you're done with the game, if you're burnt out, take a break. That's the one thing about a lot of these live service games. Take a break. If you don't feel like it's worth your time, take a break. Play something else. That's what we've been doing. Like, I've been playing Destiny 2 for the longest time. I took a break. Haven't played that game in a long time. Then I started playing other weird games, playing gacha games, playing simulator games. Got into the First Descendant. Now I'm taking a break. I've been in the game been playing it for 3 months. Now I'm taking a break. It's been a little over a month. So, you know, take a break if you need to, if you're burnt out.
Employ such arduous grinds and possibly shady practices is so that players inevitably get fed up and purchase the characters directly from the cash shop. So let's close this review by touching on the monetization.
I know, yeah. This is the part that a lot of people get upset. And people have to understand their perspective of everything. Depending on your history of games, people have different perspectives of this. The problem is a lot of people cannot be upset of the First Descendant and be okay with Warframe. But if you're not used to any of those two games, then you can be upset about it. But if you come from a gacha game, This is an amazing feeling. You would spend $200 on a chance to get a character, which can't be fully unlocked until you have multiple copies of them. But in this case, Haley right here is 900 caliber, which is probably like $10 or something like that. All right, you pay the $10, you get the character. All right, now have fun with it. I'd rather pay $10 than a chance to get the character for $10, but it could be all the way up to $200. You're taking a break. Anytime you're playing a live service game and you don't feel it, if you don't like it, you don't want to waste your time, you know what? Take a break and come back to it later. You know, I did that with Destiny 2 when Final Shape came out. I didn't play it for a long time, for a little over a year and a half. Came back to play Final Shape. It felt nice. I finished the campaign. Everything else felt the same. So take a break. But this is the part that, depending on your perspective and the games you play and the history, I think this is where a lot of people get upset. And it's kind of like, well, you have to see perspective of everything. You have to see this game from other genres of the exact same game. I haven't been playing Tower Fantasy, but if there was a $10 character, sign me up. Exactly. If I had a chance to spend $25 on a character, a gacha character, honestly, I think it's $10. It should be like really cheap. In my personal opinion, you spend $10. Honestly, a lot of their R&D, I feel like with a lot of gacha games, a lot of their money that they spend is not in the story. Surprisingly, it's in the character. But it's like, all right, when that character is done and the new banner's out, you kind of feel like, oh, what did I waste my money on? So, but yeah, certain games, depending on your perspective, changes.
Monetization in the First Descendant is garbage. You can buy bundles of premium currency that, of course, gives you just not enough for specific items, forcing you to shell out for the next bundle up or buy multiple. You can only get premium currency by spending cash. Each character
they could probably do a little bit better by that, you know? Like if most outfits are at 900, right? Let's see this bundle.
No.
So you buy
a lot of outfits are a lot of characters are around 900. A lot of outfits are somewhere in the ballpark of 5 to 750. The premium ones are like 900. Not a lot of them are, and then the ultimate ones you can buy them as well.
This bundle, the 1000 bundle, 1000 to 200 to 900.
Which that is AUD, so I'm assuming that's Australian, right? So that would be, I think it's $5, $10, $20. I think that's the way it is for America. I don't remember right now. So in a minute, like I said, I haven't played in about a month and a half. I try to keep the spending down to a minimum if you can. But yeah, so instead of paying the middle one $520, you need to spend $900, which is the next one, which by the way is a little bit more than what you need, so you can save that for your next item if you want to buy something. You know, you get you're just out of that. A lot of games, surprisingly, a lot of gacha games do this. I feel like Destiny 2 does this too. I just don't remember right now. I feel like it's like there's something that if you wish you can buy it. I don't know if it's the holiday skins. Like you wish you can buy it for this price, but you have to go even bigger to get the actual skin. So Destiny 2 definitely does that as too. So you can't be too upset about the actual pricing of how you have to go up the next tier. You might not like the price you have to pay, but a lot of games kind of do that with the next tier.
Isn't that big of a difference? Yeah, could this be done better? The currency purchases? Yeah, I mean, I'm
could be.
Sure. Yeah, he gets a point there, but I'm still trying to figure out other games that do it. You know.
I got you, Elly. Like I said, Destiny 2, I believe you do that with the holiday skins. You have to go the next tier up because you just miss it if you're going for cosmetics, and that's what we're talking about here. We're going cosmetics specifically. You gotta go into the next tier. You also have gacha games. Like I said, if you're depending on your history, gacha games are like this. The most recent gacha game that is right now people are playing is Pokemon TCG Pocket. Now, if you like that game, it's up to you. but you cannot do a 10-pack pull without spending more than $10, which they have a $10 pack but you're shy like 4 gold and you need 4 more gold to make a 10-pack. So in reality, you need more than $10 to be able to do a 10-pack. So a lot of games, they'll just get you like, oh, I wish you would have, but you can't. You got to spend a little bit more. Tower of Fantasy like that. You want to get this special deal and bundle? Oh, you can't spend this one. You got to buy this one instead. And unfortunately, you got to spend the $30 or $40, whatever the bundle is. A lot of gacha games do this. So, coming from that perspective, but like I said, I know if we're going to go talk about Destiny 2, which again, we're talking about it only specifically because he mentioned Destiny 2. Destiny 2 does this with some of their skins too. You can't just buy just a skin. Like you have to pay for the premium currency, and the currency just misses out. So you have to go to the next tier, which I'm not too opposed to it depending on how much it is. Like you get a bonus. So that bonus, if you're going to be one that might be spending a little bit more into the game because you like the game, it might make it easier for your next purchase. You might not need to, but you might have to keep doing it. So it depends. But don't forget though, like a lot of people, which I'm getting tired of it, but a lot of people have battle passes, and with battle passes, you get the premium currency. A lot of people don't give you premium currency if you have a battle pass. You actually get caliper with your battle pass. As you play the game, you get the caliper. So, you buy it one time, you get, I think 300 or something like that. Like they made the battle pass actually worth it the second time they made the battle pass. Like, they're doing better. Like the first one didn't feel like it was worth it, but now it feels like it's worth it. You get some caliper, you get some cosmetic, you get some premium like upgrade items. So it might be worth it.
That way.
You can only get premium currency.
And I don't think I can think of one. Yeah.
Like I said, Destiny 2 does it. I haven't played Warframe in forever. I don't know how titanium works or tanium works. No, tanium is Tower of Fantasy. Titanium or platinum, that's what it is. Platinum is for Warframe. I don't know how the thing is for platinum, but with platinum and Warframe, you get to sell and trade, which is something that we should have in this game. If I can grind something in this game, right, just like Warframe, I can make a character, get the parts, and then trade you the character, and you give me caliper in return for it. Now I got some premium currency because of that. I know Sinisteria plays not Lethal. What's that game called? Thrones of Liberty. You can make money in the game. You can actually get premium currency in the game because of what you do. If you can trade in the game, that would be amazing. Now they have yet to talk about mentioning trading. They said they're not gonna implement it right now, which they should have. They were supposed to implement it, but they didn't. I've made over 3K lucent so far on Thrones and Liberty. Yeah, so you can get premium currency in the game. They really do need to implement trading, because the fact that I can now feel like even though I wasted so much time in the game, I can feel like that all that extra material that I got for it that I don't really need anymore, I can feel like I can sell it and get some premium currency to get something that I really do want. So like I said, trading should be in the game so that you can feel like that's worth it. Now they do have the weekend vendor that you can kind of get some weekend stuff, but it's still good to have it, but you need to have trading so you can at least trade caliper. But the problem is I know Warframe is like this. When it first started off trading, there's issues, there's going to be bugs. People are going to be upset with trading. So when they do have trading, hopefully they can implement it right, because trading in Warframe, you could have got scammed. You put an item up, they put an item up, you guys hold the button just right, countdown pops up, boom, the guy takes out the item. Now you give him your premium currency and then he leaves you. So you have to be careful how you implement that. If that's the concern, I can totally understand you trying to get a better system in place for that so that this doesn't happen, because that does happen, or it did happen before. So I can understand when it comes to trading, you got to be careful with it. So, but we're not even, we're almost done. This is a super long video.
See, by spending cash, each character then
Not that it's right.
By the way, not each character is like this, right? So like if you wanted Sharon, it's 300 caliper. You get I'm not trying to say you buy something. Please don't think I'm telling you to buy something. But if you were to get like a battle pass, right? You pay $10, you get the battle pass. You max out the battle pass pretty quickly. I maxed out the battle pass like within a day or two tops. You can get 300 caliper, and now look, you can get a Sharon. So it's up to you. You know, should there be better ways to get caliper besides buying? Yeah, trading. It would be amazing. But now every single character that comes out has been 900 though. So I don't know if there are going to be some easier ones to give out that are not 900. You know, Luna, Haley, the guy coming out is going to probably be 900. Isimo 900, Eugen 900, like Enzo I think is 900. Like a lot of these are pretty high value.
But I can't think of any other game that does that.
It's about 10 Australian dollars at the cheapest, some up to $30. The ultimate versions of them cost over $80, and the most expensive package that comes with an extra skin and items to tweak mod slots or whatever goes for an eye-watering $140.
You're not buying just the skin, for the record. You are buying
Correct.
multiple things in bundles. This is how bundles work.
Correct. As you see here, you get the Descendant, which by themselves, depending on your location, for me in the States, it costs like $50 to get this Ultimate Descendant. Now you don't have to pay for it. You can just grind out the character. This is one of the things I had in my comments. I was kind of like on top of it, and a lot of people kept chiming in my one video for Ultimate Freyna. People were upset that you couldn't get the skin. You have to spend $100 to get the skin. No, you don't. You don't have to spend $100 to get the skin. Now, in the time of this recording, they're going to be changing that where you can just buy the skin if you wanted to. But even currently right now, this recording of this video, which again, within a week, this is going to change. You can grind out the character, get the Ultimate Descendant, which unfortunately, it takes 36 hours for you to get the character built out. And once you research it, you finally get it. But once you unlock the ultimate character, you can now go back into this bundle, and now the skin will be available for you guys. So now you technically are just buying the skin. Now the skin, unfortunately, is around $20. Give or take is around $20. So, you know, that is an ultimate premium skin. So you have your normal purple premium skin, but this is now your ultimate premium skin. So if you want that, then you have to pay for it. You're not going to get dope, amazing skins, you know. The fact that they're giving us now basic skins that you can paint and change the color, and you're going to be able to change apparently you could change the back piece color too as well. That's amazing. Makes it so much easier so you can customize it. So you don't have to feel like you have to pay for a premium skin.
Right? So if you go right now and you criticize.
And the stuff you're getting, like, I think if you don't start off early on and you start wasting these resources, this is 300 caliper, I think, or 600 caliper. The energy activators are super expensive, and I don't think they're not worth it. Even as someone who's willing to pay, I don't think it's worth it. Now, I have paid in the beginning because I wanted to make multiple guys and multiple characters, but it's not worth it. Just save who you want to play with, grind out. As you grind out for certain parts and certain characters, you have a chance to get those parts to grind out as well.
Path of Exile 2's $480 plan saying, oh my god, Path of Exile 2 is so expensive. They're selling you the game for $480.
I don't know. I think that's Elden Ring or something. I haven't played that game, so I don't know. But $480? That's a lot.
No, that is a bundle. Bundles do this in video games. Not saying it's okay, but I mean, you have to be oblivious and living under a rock to not understand what a bundle does.
Yeah, because you get the Descendant, which again, we talked about. The value of Descendant and the skin is $50. Well, for the United States, it's about $50, right? You have to see the value of everything else that goes with it, right? This is, I think it's on 600 caliper. I don't honestly remember. But you can grind this out. You can get these. You get these pretty often. The fact that we're getting events now every single month, we're getting multiple events. You can get this stuff. It's not even worth paying for. But if you want it, boom. Honestly, now that we're going to be able to buy, like, let's just say a new Ultimate Descendant comes out. You have the Ultimate Descendant. I want the character. I don't want this, but I want the back piece. You're going to be able to buy the character. And you know what? I'm going to buy this back piece because I want this back piece. Or buy the spawn material because I like the way that spawn looks. You're going to be able to buy it. But you got to see if the value is worth it for you. Honestly, it's not worth it because you're going to be able to grind. The fact that energy activators cost so much money, pass is not worth it because you can actually just grind it out in the game. That's one of the hardest annoying parts to get early on, but you get a lot of those down the line for sure. But these materials are kind of pricey, so the value goes up, but everything else is cosmetics. You don't need them, by the way, in the game. It's not like you're playing a gacha game where you can't do the next event or story without having the newest character. So,
also, to give credit to the company here, they have already, since they are a great company that listens to player feedback, they have already addressed this. This is no longer going to be a business model moving on to the future. Starting season 2, which is at less than 2 weeks from now,
you can buy
they will be separating bundles. You can purchase anything outside of a bundle now. You would be able to purchase this outside of a bundle, that outside of a bundle. This thing, you would be able to purchase separate things individually, like a headpiece. If you don't want the whole outfit, you're going to be able to separate things outside of the bundle. They are also addressing some of the other things that are a little bit more expensive. Again, because the company listens to their players, they will be doing that. And monetization is changing starting again less than 2 weeks from now. But obviously this person probably doesn't know that because he doesn't do his research and he doesn't really care to. He's giving you what is currently in the game right now. And if you really look at it like this, that you're only getting this skin for $100, I think it's a little bit disingenuous as well. It's like criticizing Path of Exile 2 for selling you the game for $480, which is not the case. You're getting a bunch of other stuff that comes included in this bundle.
Like, if you think about it, if you don't care for the skins at all, and you do want to spend in the game currently, right? $100, you get this whole bundle. Or you take that $100 and you get 2 Ultimate Descendants for $50. Again, depending on your location, your currency is different. But a lot of times, if you're going to get the highest premium bundle, you can just get the one that basically has a character only. And you can get 2 characters versus getting the skin. Depends on how your value is. Maybe you value the skins a little bit more and it's worth it. But the fact that you're going to be able to buy just a skin because you want just a skin, it's awesome.
That's how bundle.
And from my understanding, because they're doing individually, I can buy the skin for let's just say, for instance, I want to farm out Ultimate Sharon, but I want that skin that she's going to have. I can buy the skin and use it on my normal Sharon. I don't know if it's specifically owned specifically. I could be wrong. It's been a minute since I looked at the game. I don't think it's specifically tied to that character only. I could be wrong. But like the fact that you can buy it specifically and still grind out the character later, I might be wrong on that. I haven't looked at that in a while. But the fact that you're able to choose what you want and keep the one things there,
those work.
Worth it.
Australian dollars, give or take. Now, Warframe does charge something similar to this with their Prime frames, but those bundles at the very least include a heap of premium currency to help justify the cost. But let's
hold on a second. Hold on 1 second. A lot of times, it's been a minute. I haven't played since Neza Prime, so it's been a long time since I played. And I mean, I don't know if Neza Prime came out back at again, but the first time Neza Prime came out for Warframe is the last time I really played. And I'll tell you this for sure. A Prime version to give you premium currency costs you $80 American dollars. Okay? To have the newest character and the weapon and the titanium or the platinum, you need that. Now, you don't get skins. It didn't come with a skin. This is coming with a skin. I think they do have their own variants, I guess. It's been a minute. I guess they have their own variants from the normal one to the next one. But you have your own variants. Like the ultimate plain Freyna looks different than normal basic Freyna. But you also get ultimate Freyna skin as well with the fishnets. So like you get another skin additional on top of it. Is it worth it? No. I'm just saying like you spend $50 American dollars to get the character versus you spend $80 to get the character, the weapon, and some premium currency. In this case, you just get a bunch of cosmetics, but you're going to be able to choose Because sometimes you might like the character, but you don't like the bundle. You might not like 2 of the pieces out of the bundle, but you like the spawn animation. You know what? I'll go with that. So, but I would say Warframe is a lot more if you're just getting the character. It has to be like $80. Actually, you know what? Let's look that up. Warframe Prime. I think it's called Prime Access. It's been a minute since I looked at it. Wow, this character I used to play this when this character came out, I played this character. Look at this. Now the platinum is crazy. They can do a lot more better with the game. They've been out for a long time. They do giveaways when they do their the developer stuff. So they do a lot more with platinum. But in reality, what do you get for this? You get $80 to get the character, right? And you get the weapon. But you get all this platinum to go with it. Sure, can we get some currency to go with it? That would be amazing. But you don't get a special. You get one basic ultimate whatever prime frame, but you don't get a special skin. Maybe you like that skin that the First Descendant has. You know? Maybe you like the back piece that comes with it. Maybe you like the spawn animation that comes with the game. You know? I think with the ultimate frames, you also get a ultimate frame. With the ultimate descendants, you get XP boosters on top of it. So you can level up that character really fast. So you can get back into it. Because like, if you have that character already, you don't want to grind out a character and take forever to get it to the max level. So you do get that. But again, $80 to get the character. If you want the character, you are stuck with $80. Okay? Now, if you want the same value for, again, I think it's like $50, $55 tops, you get the character no matter what. And that's the ultimate prime version. Now, what helps you out for sure on the normal basic ones is that you have daily logins that randomly you might get 25%, 75% off the marketplace. That helps out, but you can't get prime. So the fact that you get platinum, sure, that helps you out, but you have to spend a lot more to get that value. Now, I don't know what the value of 2600 platinum they're saying is a $208 value. I don't know what that value is specifically. If you were to convert that over to TFD, what is platinum this value to that? Maybe someone would do that math, but you're spending an extra $30 to get this currency pretty much. And yes, you get the weapon too. So I think if you're going to do that, I think you have to fully do it correctly, I think.
I mean, I guess in Path of Exile's case too, they do give you some premium currency back if you do purchase a $480 pack. I really don't like that argument though, because you wouldn't be purchasing that either way. Even if they do give you premium currency back, it's money that you wouldn't have had to spend anyways. So I don't really like when people try to defend that. Oh, but if you
now you can go the whole method of, you know what? I get that currency. You spend $80, you get the character, you get the weapon. But you know what? Next time I get a prime frame that I really want, that's going to be premium. Maybe I can use that caliper or whatever the platinum, and maybe I can buy the character outright, the parts. But a lot of times you have to wait. Sometimes people don't want to wait. People want the character right away. You can't just use that platinum to just buy the character from the actual marketplace from themselves. You have to actually either farm the parts or spend the money. So
purchase this, you get microtransaction currency back. It's just like, yeah, you wouldn't have purchased it anyways.
But again, you have to spend an additional $30 to get that currency. Now, $30 in the game of the First Descendant, I think it's actually around 2600 caliber or something like that. It's like 2000 caliber. It's something. You're getting caliper. So if you were to put that together, sure. But again, you guys are forgetting the fact that you're spending an extra $30 more to get that premium currency.
I don't like that argument.
The look of your character. Armor paints.
Do you want to spend $80 on a prime frame, or do you want to spend $50 on an ultimate character, Descendant? You know?
Cost less than $1 each.
The dying system, I 100% agree.
I'm just gonna let Elly talk, but the paint system is, I would say, is a gripe. A lot of people don't like it. Warframe has a better paint system. You get the paint system, you just use the paint however you want. This different. Hopefully they do change it. They made it a little bit better, but now you can get it from the weekend vendor and you get it from missions and stuff like that. Even from your daily passes and stuff. Just the paint system, a lot of people want to play with it more. But
agree. If this guy wanted to rate the First Descendant a 10 out of 10, and wanted to put a complaint, I would do the paint job alone would bring this down by 5 notches. I do think that the dye system is,
yeah, the paint sucks. The fact that you have to pay for paint, and let's say I want a specific paint, like I want that tan paint to make it a little bit more nude color. If I don't have that, I didn't get it, or didn't get it from something else or an event, I gotta pay for it. Some colors are locked behind something, you have to pay for it, unfortunately. I would like to, if I'm gonna have to pay, which I don't want to pay, if I'm gonna have to pay for something, I want it to be one and done. I want to be able to open the palette, and I think Warframe does this too. I want to be able to open that palette and be able to use all those colors in that palette because I already paid for it. So I definitely agree that you can knock off a lot of points because of the paint system and the story. Those are the two things that were knocked down. But I don't know if I would knock it 5 points though, Elly. I probably would knock it down definitely a couple points for sure.
garbage.
But do note that they are one-time use.
Extremely garbage. I think they should rework the way the dyeing system is implemented in this game.
So far, the two biggest things I agree with him on for sure is I feel Austin is correct when it comes to the story. Story is, I can't even tell you what the story is about. So the story, the voice acting, I think now the voice acting is a lot better with the Ultimate Freyna story. And hopefully we see an improvement keep going up from there. But the story, I would agree, not the greatest. Aesthetically pleasing, I mean, I think his preferences. Do I feel like the open world could be a lot better? I've already talked about that. I feel like you could do a lot more to it. But, you know, I want to be in and out of a mission, get out, get the story done, I'm done. I can move on to another game. But the next thing I would definitely agree with Austin is the paint system. The paint system in this, for sure.
Just fully dyeing your character a single color will run you more than a few bucks. The other kicker is that you cannot dye the default characters. You can only...
Correction.
Elly's about to say it. This is why it's good to wait for an update. Wait for a patch update before you say something, because I know Elly's about to mention this for sure. Like they've already mentioned this, that you can change it. And the back piece. I mentioned this in my update of the dev note to condense it. The fact that you're able to update and paint the default skins, and on top of that, you're going to be able to paint the actual weapons and the back piece, dope.
Or maybe a caveat, side note, that he is right. You can't dye the default right now. Starting season 2,
right now,
you will be able to dye it. Again,
there you go.
Another community feedback that Nexon, Magnum Studios, has listened to.
Dye character skins, so you'll have to shell out for those first. Then there's also cosmetic trinkets, XP boosts and upgrade materials, and there's a premium battle pass as well, because of course there is. And as a free-to-play...
Every game has a battle pass. You just can't live without, unfortunately, you can't be for a game now without a battle pass. Every game has a battle pass. As long as the battle pass doesn't make you so much more busted because you have a battle pass, then I don't mind. As long as it's cosmetics, sure, you have XP boosters. Sure, cosmetic skins, paint, fine. But, you know, you can still get the weapon from the battle pass for playing it. It just won't be the greatest. And I mean, I don't feel like the battle pass weapon have been the greatest. I can't tell you any of the 2 battle passes we've had if they've been great at all. I don't think they've been great. The next one's coming out, I believe, is a shotgun. I don't think it's going to be great, but hopefully I'm wrong. But, you know, I don't look at the battle pass for that. I look for, you know, the cosmetics, the caliper you get back out of this, the XP. You get these also other resources you can then use to get more cosmetics on top of it. The fact that when you're done with the battle pass, now with the most recent battle pass, you can get crystalline catalyst and energy activators when you're done completing it, amazing.
Play game, I can tolerate that, but the fact that everything is so egregiously expensive that there
Correction, this is not egregiously expensive. What makes other business models, maybe like Warframe, if we want to compare something directly, what makes Warframe a little bit more tolerable with its microtransactions is that you can earn premium currency in the game by just playing it and trading stuff with players.
We just talked about that. If we can trade in the game, amazing. If we get trading in the game and you can get premium currency, it makes your time worth it.
There is no trading in this game, so you can't really earn some of the premium currency, none of the premium currency in game, which is a good point for Warframe and maybe more of a negative one for this game. But when you actually break down the microtransaction in its cost in this game, they are extremely and comparing it in the bigger picture with other games that have live,
their average price. We just talked about Warframe pricing. To get the ultimate frame, you have to spend $80. If you want the ultimate descendant, $50. Oh, but it has $80, has that currency. Sure, if I spend an extra $30 extra, sure, I can get some currency. I don't know if the value equals that value. I don't know because I haven't played Warframe in forever. So I don't know if that value equals. But on top of it, I would say that the fact that you have a chance to use that currency and you have logged in and you got a 75% of a marketplace item, that makes the value even more so. So like they have like layers of it that makes it really great. But I still, for apples to apples, if you're going to compare it, $80 for the new character and the weapon, or 50 some dollars. I think it's either 50, 55. Depending on your location, again, your currency might change.
Live service games that have microtransactions like Black Desert, Lost Ark, Throne and Liberty. This game falls right in track with all those games. So unless, again, you've been living under a rock and you don't know other live service games, this game's business model when it comes to purchasing packs, skins, clothing, hairstyles, 125 skin is equivalent of $2.50. This is like $2.50 for an outfit.
The only thing is you can't buy $2.50, unfortunately. Like if you can just spend up, like just pay cash for that, people will be more accepting. But you have to buy currency, which you then have to buy the next thing, which is the $5 pack to be able to get this. But again, you get currency if you buy the battle pass, which again, I'm not recommending you do it. But if you're like, you spend, I forget how much it is, but you get 300 caliber, you can then get 2 skins.
The skins are cheaper. So in
some of them, yep, $20 for a skin coming up, potentially $20 for the ultimate Prime Sharon, potentially, or anyone else who you want their extra skin. It's probably gonna be around $20, give or take. Kind of pricey, but I mean, it's within the range, it's within the average, $20, you know?
some cases, it's even cheaper than a lot of live service games.
Visual customization for free players, and that characters are so difficult to earn by virtue.
Not true. I don't think that the characters are difficult to earn. You might not like its grinding loop, which is making grinding a bit more unbearable for you.
Correct, but which is why the pity system is going to be in place to make it easier for those who spend that hour you spend, you can at least feel like you have a chance to get that part that you're looking for.
But I don't think that the drop rates are miserable and hard. But I guess maybe this is subjective. Maybe you don't want to put in more time into the game than you probably would like, and that's fair. I guess that's just not for you. You just don't like the grind loop.
Of their load.
There has not been a single character in my time playing this game where it's taken me up to longer than 3 days or 4 days. And one of the hardest characters, which the game has admittedly come out and said that they messed up on, is Haley. And even that character.
Correct. Now, I heard how hard Haley was when it first came out, and I immediately said I'm just going to pull the trigger on it. Is it worth the $10? Yep, I'll pay $10 for a character.
I grind it out pretty quickly.
Drop rates, which may not even be accurate. It's clear that Nexon...
It is accurate. I don't like working on theories and assumptions and stuff. The team has already looked into the drop rates and have clarified and come out and said that they are working as intended.
Have no shame, no respect for your time, and will go to great length.
Again, the problem is the time that I think a lot of people are upset. If you give trading, you can now feel like, okay, I got 68 pieces of Valby Spiral Catalyst. You know what? How much is that on the market? Oh, 10 caliper, 15 25 caliper. All right, sell. Boom. Now you had like 65 Valby Catalysts. Now you sold those things. Boom. But the problem is it's going to get to a certain point, which is why Warframe ended up making subsuming, where you can now, like, once you have the character, why need the character again? Well, and they made subsuming where you would do is you would take a power that one frame has and you would give it to another frame that you want if you're choosing. So that allowed people to, you know what, I want another copy of that character so I can subsume it.
To ensure you keep spending money.
I'm not going to defend that. I mean, it's a company.
I don't think the game forces you like you need to spend money at all. Like I said, you can play this game with normal bunny, and Thundercage and do a lot of hard-end content. Now, you might not like Bunny's playstyle. You might not like Thundercage. That might not be your weapon and style. But they give you an amazing character to start off with for free within the first 15, 20 minutes. And they give you Thundercage, which is S-tier weapon.
After all, I'm not going to say that this is a righteous company and, oh my God, my company doesn't want to make money. There is a very high chance that a lot of the reason they have certain things in here is because they're trying to make profit. Hello, welcome to video gaming. Companies want to make money.
I remember the Tamer being the first weapon everyone chose.
The most common sentiment is that if you like Warframe, you will like this, with most of the praise directed at the gunplay, progression, and visuals. Broadly, I can see where those people are coming from. As I mentioned throughout this video, some of that stuff is okay. I can totally see players with deep into the endgame having a good time with the power progression in the same way that you would any other looter. What the crazy launch numbers really show is that people are hungry for an alternative to Warframe, because what's there has grown a little stale or didn't click.
I just never got back into Warframe. Warframe was the game that I went to escape from Destiny 2, and I just never went back to it. Now that I went to Destiny 2, escaped from the final shape, I wanted a game to play. I was so far behind from Warframe, I said, you know what? This game is coming out. I'm going to play this game. It looked just like Warframe in a sense of like the same similar marketing and the style, the play style, third-person shooter. So
with them in the first place. But this is not...
Damn, Warframe players. He just shit on your game.
For me, it was like rocking up to my favorite burger joint, trying something new on the menu, and then immediately regretting that choice after the first bite, with every bite thereafter serving as a reminder of how much more I would have enjoyed my usual meal. I think players quickly realized this too, as indicated by its 60% mixed review status on Steam and cratering monthly population. I know live serve...
The 60, well, I'm not trying to say that none of the reviews are just, right?
I kind of want to see this review real quick. Hold on. We're going to pull up the reviews. I feel like I want to be able to see what some of the issues are when it comes to this, right? So let's pull this up. You got the First Descendant. Boom. Apparently it's mature, I forgot. So looking at this, you got an extra 1,000 people who have mixed reviews. Okay. So let's see what some of the reviews are. All right. As the core of this game is a classic move, shoot, loot is bad. If you want to sell players on the is bad, the moving, don't get me wrong, Warframe is the bullet jumping is awesome, but the classic move, shoot, and loot is bad. let's read more. If you want to sell players on the always be grinding day game playstyle, you need to at least have an engaging mission, area design, long empty stretches make up nothing, burger padding between uninspiring sprinkling of grunt enemies, mobility options, offering you half-hearted. Okay, yep, that's valid. Clunky combat rolls. The rolls are clunky a little bit. I will say for sure the grappling hook with a rubbery physics maneuvers. I have mid-air grappling and I don't normally have an issue. When you're out of combat, this is your point A to point B, Death Stranding jogging sim. When you're in combat, these limitations are placing skill shot, dodging mechanics, getting to cover. This is the foundations for the rest of your game. Slog through this and stats gain starting from 0.001 decimal point increments in garbage loot with no auto item filter, so you have constant. This was posted back in November. Okay, so I wonder if the update will, and like I said, the fact that you're gonna get rid of a lot of this loot, I feel like the move and shoot and loot, I can't say that is bad. The core of the game, I don't think that's I don't know. I just don't think, I don't agree with that specific. I do agree that is open lackluster. I do agree with that. The dodging, I definitely agree with. There's a lot of times where I dodge and I feel like it just feels like robotic in a sense. You can kind of feel like it didn't feel natural. The stat increments, that's one thing I would say about this game, is the Ultimate Descendant is not much different from the normal Descendant. So it's not like you have to spend this money or I have to grind out for this character. You don't have to. A lot of times the normal one is just as good. Maybe small differences just a little bit. But it's up to you if you really want that. You know? It doesn't feel like I have normal Freyna and then I get ultimate Freyna and she's so much better, so much different. Now there's mods specifically for her. They're great, but they're not too game breaking. The only one I would say that's really game breaking, not game breaking, the one I would say is really great, that's Ultimate Descendant only, is probably High Voltage for Bunny. It does a lot of damage. But I've seen builds do a lot of damage with her other build, her Electric Condense. So let's see what the next one is real quick. Warframe, but made by Nexon. This game is heavily monetized and handled by greedy publisher with shady practices, but it's a good chance of scenery. If you're from Warframe, it's a free game. Give it a try and avoid investing in it. It's exactly like Warframe when it comes to the monetization. We kind of talked about that a little bit. I wouldn't say apples to apples. Like I said, $80 for the Prime frame versus $50 for the Ultimate frame. If you're just talking about just the character, right? So
there are some people that don't really prefer the game and they have some valid critiques, and that's fine. But a lot of this is nonsense. It is over back to the reputation that Nexon has built with MapleStory. The amount of people that came out of the woodworks to bombard this game with negative reviews are people who list MapleStory scam as a reason why they don't like this game. Like
we literally just saw one that says shady practices. We literally just saw one that says shady practices. Now, are you talking about specifically? Are you talking about MapleStory? Again, I never played the game. Are you talking about MapleStory? Are you talking about this game specifically, shady practices? I feel like there's not that many. I feel like what you get in the game is what you get out of it. You grind it for this character, you get the character. If you don't want to grind the character, you don't want to spend maybe a few minutes, a couple hours, maybe a couple days, depending on how long you play to get a character, then that might not be for you. Maybe you wanted to spend for the character and just enjoy the newest character. You know, that might be for you. But I don't know about like shady practices. Like I said, you could spend $50 for the character. A lot of the new characters that come out, you don't have to actually spend that money. You can just grind out the new character or spend $10 and get the new character. Now, $10 might be a lot for a lot of people. And for those people, I can understand, which is why you can grind out the character. The game doesn't stop you from enjoying the newest content without having the newest character. There's games out there where you like gacha games specifically that make that content around the new character. And if you don't have the new character, it's really tough. Not saying it's impossible, just really tough.
It really isn't hard to go back and look at some of these reviews, and you're going to hear Maple Story being brought
Maple
up
syrup?
in its
No,
fake
Maple
drop
Story.
rates, which is, I think, again, I'm not going to defend that. I think it's pretty just that Nexon really screwed this up for themselves, and they put this negative image of themselves to the public. That's definitely they're doing, and they're suffering the consequences of that. But as a player who has played this game religiously for heaps amount of hours, you could probably consider my opinion very biased as well. That's fine. I'll take it. I'm trying my best to not be as biased and give you guys the facts. And
Elly has 1,000 hours, which is a lot of time. We spend probably 200 hours on Steam, give or take, maybe 250, maybe 3 tops. And on PlayStation, we probably have around 200 as well. So we spend around 500. So I have half of Elly, but I would definitely say in that time, I felt like I enjoy the time that I have. I'm going to pick it back up when the new content comes out.
And as best as I can. And I don't agree with a lot of the takes that this person is saying. This sounds like somebody who was handed a timeline. Here is this game. Go play it. Give us a review, and you have about 5 hours to turn this review in. So this guy went in there. Oh my God, it's work mode. Let me see. Let me get to the.
I remember. I think that person is called Paul Tassi. They are a Destiny 2 player, and they mentioned that they hated the First Descendant. But you know what? They came back and said, I spent so many hours on the First Descendant. I don't know why I keep coming back. It plays decent. It plays good. The story sucks. Hopefully they get better with the story. Ultimate Frame story was amazing. So as long as they get better with the stuff and keep working on it versus Anthem just completely giving up, you're fine. Like I said, Anthem played well. The fact that you can fly around, land, shoot, played well. There was no end game. Not one end game. The loot drop weren't great. And they weren't great at taking criticism. So they ended up dropping it, which sucks because that game I would love for them to pick it back up. I like that game a lot.
This campaign. Oh my God, it's taking 3 hours to grind out Blair. Oh my God, I need to turn this review in. And so looks like a person that is working.
Mm-hmm. It does.
And a person who has a deadline to turn in this paper. It doesn't seem like a really found.
It does because, the game's been out and it wasn't until they said they mentioned it. It wasn't until recently that they ended up getting to play and like grinding. So it wasn't like they started off in the very beginning. It's like they came relatively recently and then they started playing the First Descendant. And then from that, they ended up, doing the missions. It didn't seem like they got to the hard part. I didn't see anything on hard just yet. If I was wrong, I don't know if they even I would assume they completed the story at least, but I don't know if they continue the grind afterwards, because technically that's when the game actually really starts, is right after the story. That's when it actually starts. I don't think this individual, Austin, like continue to do it after that. So
based on the actual hands-on time and somebody who is actually doing their review, their job, investigation, I guess. They're not really doing their investigation.
Yeah, like if you're like a journalist, you try to do your best to cover all the bases and make sure you don't miss any points. Like it does feel like it's a little bit rushed to get this like a review out. It does feel that way. Now it might not. Again, I didn't personally see a lot of hard end content. I could be wrong. I think I saw the 15 master rank 15.
Steam and cratering monthly population.
Research.
I know live service games evolve
That's the
over
word.
time, but I have little
16?
confidence that Nexon will address this game's core issues. And I haven't even mentioned all the other things that bug me about this game, like how the matchmaking often parties you up with high-level players who will one-shot every encounter, how ugly all the menus are, how spread apart all the different crafting and upgrade stations are in the player hub, and that
Hold on. You could go into the game and you could party up with some people. You can go in there and you can have trash people who don't know the mechanics, unfortunately, and you're stuck going queuing back in, queuing back in, queuing back in. Some people just want to get in, get out, get the stuff. Especially if you're going to grind that character, that boss over and over and over. You know, you go farm out the patterns, 10, 15 patterns, maybe 20. Then you go grind out the Colossus. Hopefully get the item you want. Sometimes you don't want to spend the 5 minutes there. So you got people who are super overpowered, who has the ultimate Haley build or this build or that build. Just get it done. You know? But they're doing better with the last bosses that they can't do it as quickly. But I think like Gluttony, I think the record was 20 seconds and everyone was like Enzo and Glaze, you know? So like they were planned out for it, but for randoms, it's a little bit more challenging.
Fiesta of ridiculous outfits I see every time I load in there makes me feel like I've awkwardly shown up to a costume party where I'm
not trying to invalidate his point of view here, but it's just something to point out that I think is funny. Is
the matchmaking often
he doesn't like that people queue up to kill a boss fast for him.
You
I can see it if you want that challenge and stuff like that, but yeah.
By the way, Stunning Beauty, I think you can only play Stunning Beauty on normal. So people might be ahead of you. I mean, if you were playing the game when it first came out, maybe Stunning Beauty was a little more tough. Like I said, Dead Bride, super easy to kill. You know, that you can get rid of Dead Bride pretty darn easily. But in the very beginning, when you first started playing, it was kind of tough. You didn't know the mechanics. That globe wipeout would kill everyone, unfortunately. So,
what's the alternative? The alternative is that you're stuck in matchmaking hell with a group of 3 bozos that can't clear something for like 5 hours. That's the alternative.
I will say that one thing I do recommend is whenever you do queue into the thing, that you still are able to change before the match actually starts. As someone who likes to play Eugen sometimes, I would queue in and there will be another Eugen. Now there's 2 Eugens. Don't need it. Have survivability now for sure. Don't really need it. And I can't change it. I can't, not that I can't even change the Descendant. I can't even change the layout. I have a DPS layout, but I can't switch over because I'm stuck. So that would be nice to change.
I know that it's better to probably get a mix if they find out a way to have a good middle ground. But if you're asking me, what do I want as an alternative? Do I want some high-level player to come and help me out clear this? Or do I want to spend 4 hours clearing a dungeon? If you ask me, at the beginning of the game, at the very early portions of the game, I'd want somebody to queue up and save me.
high-level players who will one-shot every encounter.
That's just
ugly
me,
all the menus
but,
are, how spread apart
you know,
all the different crafting and upgrade stations are in the player hub, and at the Fiesta of ridiculous outfits I see
especially early on. I definitely would want that cleared out early on. Those are not in-game bosses.
are in the player hub, and that the Fiesta of ridiculous outfits I see every time I load in there makes me feel like I've awkwardly shown up to a costume party where I'm the only one in costume. All of this is to say that if you've already tried Warframe and are looking for an alternative, there are far better options out there.
Again,
Destiny's going through a rough patch, sure, but the core gameplay
again,
is
if
solid.
you
You've got ARPGs like
go
Path of Exile and
into
Diablo that also scratch
a
that
matchmaking
user itch.
and you're able to change your character, that'd be great. Or change your layout. Because like, going in and seeing the same one, like I said, if you're going as a support and you see another Luna, like you don't need 2 Lunas.
You can't
change it,
solo play all bosses.
That would be nice. Or like closing thoughts, but I mean, majority of it I agree with. It looks like we have the same opinion, me and Elly. There's a few things I do agree with Austin on. Like we mentioned, the story for sure isn't the greatest. When you're playing it, honestly, I can't even tell you much about it. The paint system for sure is annoying. Like I don't even want to play. I don't even want to customize because how annoying the paint system is. But hopefully the paint system gets better over time. But everything else that they kind of mentioned, oh, the open world. I would agree if you had a little bit more in the open world, but I honestly really don't want to be even in the open world, to be honest with you. I don't even want to be in the open world. I mean, with Destiny 2, you have, you know, sparrows, you can travel further, but in reality, it's not really great either. There's a lot of things, but you can travel really fast, really far, and cover a lot of distance because you have a Sparrow. Warframe, you have bullet jumping. So you can get to a place, you can be done with a mission within 20 seconds, depending on how fast you can get the mission done. So that can happen. So like in this case, the open world, I would definitely say, if you have like, world bosses like the Colossi coming in, doing a Colossus battle in the open world would be really dope. I think that would be nice. That'd be a good way. Maybe some public events in there. That I would say for sure that would help out the open world. So those 3 points I would definitely agree on. Everything else I don't fully agree with Austin on. I feel like, again, we didn't see maybe hard events. I could be wrong. I didn't see any really hard stuff that the person was doing. And that's where the grind actually starts, when you're doing the hard stuff. I think if you would have showed me you grinded out Ultimate Bunny or you grinded out Glay, then I could see your validation, because for that, like, those are hard grinds. They're 6%. And if you got them, awesome. If you didn't, it took a while. So I can definitely understand that. But what I'll do is, if you guys want to see this video, actually, hold on. Boom. Definitely give it a subscribe. Give that a thumbs up. I totally agree with you and your takes on this game. Totally doing a reaction to this. Thank you for video. Got a new subscriber here. Boop. If you guys want to see this video, I'll leave a link here. Overall, really good takes. I agree with Elly majority of it. I don't think there was anything I disagreed with Elly. There's a few things I disagree with Austin.